Yeah, but I mean, you know, I'm getting caught up on this fact of,
No,
you
it's a good
know,
conversation for
oh
sure.
yeah, oh yeah, but you know, and I know, you need to hash some of these things out in terms of explanations. So you've said that before, but in terms of, what would you say is missing, right? Because I'm not very clear on what was missing in our perfect state that we needed to spiritually evolve or be tested or test
Well, I was
ourselves in
I
order
was
to
using
expand
I
our
was
consciousness.
using I was using that as a metaphor. So I don't believe we were actually perfect because I don't believe in perfection.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but
So, so
I was saying as a metaphor, like if you look at the Garden of Eden, you know,
you think it was
from
harmony with
another
nature?
from another perspective, I do believe we were closer to. I mean, compared to what we are now, it might as well have been perfect. We were closer to nature. We were, I do believe that there was somewhat of a falling off, but it wasn't from some judgment. It was that we became less coherent and in resonance with the natural world. Period. And there is some evidence of this.
And you believe
There was
coherence with the
less
natural
war. There
world
was.
is
Go ahead.
no, but you believe coherence with the natural world would be following natural law.
Yes,
Okay. So,
absolutely.
what are
But it
some
was
principles of natural law you believe?
but it was inborn. Like it was something that was like literally natural. It wasn't something that we had to be told. It was, like it even has like Adam naming all the animals and stuff, and they just came to him. It's not like he had to order them. You know, they just came to
Wait,
him.
so you believe that's a real story
No, I don't believe it's literally real, but I believe it's telling you something by illustrating it like that. There was no
about
conflict.
that we didn't need to gain any knowledge, right? That's what you're saying it says, right?
I'm saying that there was almost like a telepathic communication that was going on. There was no conflict.
You mean between humanity?
Yes, and the animals. In other words, they weren't our enemies. And when it talks about how you need to eat, meat and all this, like I don't think that was necessary.
Do you believe universal mind is a principle of natural law?
I believe that universal mind is what we're living in.
Okay.
That is the God above
Yeah,
God. That's what I'm
because
talking
that's what
about.
it sounded like. Yeah.
We are in the mind of God, so to speak.
Yeah.
We're like
Yeah, right. Panenthe
characters.
Yeah,
We're like
panentheism, yeah.
we're like characters. We're in the dream of the gods. We are, you know, like we're figments of its imagination. You could say, not literally, but you
So
get what
are
I
we
mean.
real? God is
Yes,
more real than us,
yes, in a way, yes.
but
No,
God is not real. God is not a real thing, though. You
we
said
are
that.
real. Well, God, like I said, God in the sense that most people would normally define that,
So
because
by
it's not
God, you mean
anthropomorphic.
natural law.
Because it's not like an anthropomorphic being. Well, the
Okay.
natural law is an extension of this
Of
force.
universal mind, right? Which is
Right.
what we're living
Yes.
inside of, which
Yes.
is God.
Right. But not an anthropomorphic being in the sky passing judgment or whatever. Yes.
Have you looked at Plotinus?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very similar to Plotinus. Do you
Uh,
agree?
in some ways, yeah. I think the Greeks kind of like took it another direction, but I get what you're saying.
What
Yes.
do you think of his views of the Gnostics of them bastardizing Plato?
They didn't bastardize Plato; they bastardized Mithraism. But yeah, because the Gnostics came from Mithra, as I've already gotten into, and as Giorgiani's gotten into.
Right, right.
That's
But
where
but
it all comes from. Ahura Mazda, and
but it goes back to Heraclitus, and then we reached a dead end
yes,
because we can't establish that
who
he's.
was a Mithrist.
Yeah, but we couldn't establish that.
No, it can be established. It
I
can be
mean,
established.
I mean, I've been suspicious of that myself because of the
He
sacred
was a
fire motif, right?
well.
So,
Well, see
yeah,
that right, right, and see Heraclitus was most of the pre-Socratics were Persian. That can be determined. Okay, and so and Giorgiani makes a really good case for it too. He's not the only one. I have a few books on it. Uh, if you want me to send them to you. Uh,
yeah, I
One's
gotta
called
send you
like
books.
the Zoroastrian dilemma or something, and there's a couple others. But no, yeah, they were all. Plus, you can read like all of these authors from like the 1900s. They'll all tell you, like all masonry, all it all goes back to the Magi. All of it. They'll tell you that in Egypt, like it all goes back there. And they're always like questioning, like they don't really know the origins and da 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 da. Da. Well, that's because we didn't make the discoveries we've made recently, you know. And you got to understand that this was like a global empire at the time, so it goes into Babylon and Iraq and Iran. So when I say Mithra, like people think it's just like one little area. No, 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 no. The capital of it was Iraq at one time, so it's all in this area. It's Mesopotamia, same as Samaria. Okay. And then when you really get into it, you got to look into the book called The Dragon Legacy. It was written by a prince who was assassinated for talking too much. Then you really get the story, and it actually goes beyond Mithra. But when you understand like the weaving in and out through history, it all ends up going back because there were a lot of different. I put a video in the chat too in Discord a while back about the religion of the Magi. It goes back into the Druids as well, but that's prehistory, and a lot of people don't even like consider that possible. So I don't go there. But if you really want to get into it, um, but they're one and the same. They're one.
Yeah, I mean, practically speaking, I feel no need to go before Plato and Shangzu and stuff like that. You know, there's
Well,
just no need.
if there is, if you really want to understand it, but I mean, like I said, I don't expect people to go there. Um,
Yeah,
you can
I
look.
mean,
You can Plato. I mean, Plato talks about it himself. So yeah, you want
yeah,
to go to Plato? Plato will tell you the same thing. Like it goes back
I
before.
think Western philosophy just starts with Parmenides.
No, no, it starts. It starts with. I mean, you got to remember they wiped out all the colleges, and it
Yeah, but
wasn't just the
occultism
Library of
is not.
Alexandria.
Yeah,
It
but
goes back to
occultism is not
Egypt.
philosophy, right?
It go. It was. They were one and the same. Okay, philosophy is philosophia, the love of wisdom, and that's why the Gnostics made Sophia the goddess. Okay, but Sophia has many other forms and many other titles.
Yeah,
Jason,
I
go
mean, I
ahead.
know every philosopher was an occultist, but I
Yep,
think
there you
occultists
go.
in general are pretty bad philosophers.
There you go. Well, I mean, you just said they were all philosophers, so it depends. You know, uh, there's a case to be made for that. Um, have you ever looked into Martin Heidegger?
Yes.
He's really good. He's one of my
Yeah.
favorite philosophers, as
Yeah.
well as Schelling is another one.
Yeah.
More
Schelling, I'm not so good on.
okay.
But yeah,
Schelling is
I really like Nietzsche. I really like Heidegger.
okay.
But
If you understand Heidegger, he's really close in a modern times, and I like him a lot more than Plato. Just for the record, since we're talking about all this, and you want to like talk about like who I'm closer aligned to, I'm a lot more aligned to Heidegger. Okay, so if you understand how he feels about consciousness and all that, that's closer to my understanding of it. Again, not exact, but if you want to get closer to like
yeah,
my
you're talking
actual
about
view,
Dasein.
Dasein, the thing in itself,
That's right.
cannot be perceived. Right. Okay. So I didn't know if you knew about him, and I didn't want to get into all that because he's kind
I
of heavy.
do. Yeah,
Okay,
I
good.
read a question concerning technology, and he's very suspicious of technique and its encroachments.
Yes, yes. Well, so is Giordani, believe it or not. He just knows that it's happening either damn way. And it's either going to
Yeah.
be in the hands of tyrants or the hands of people that are ethical and about so
Yeah, I don't have the
that's
same belief in progress at all. Yeah, but
well, I get what you're saying too, actually. Probably more than you think.
yeah, you know what I mean?
So I get it, and I understand why you would be a little suspicious of Giorgiani because in the beginning I was too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because it's like you said at the
But no,
beginning, like there's no time, there's no progress.
he knows.
It's
Well, yes, but these people are galloping towards a dystopian future, and it's either we head them off or they take us into hell, literally. Um,
And that's why I like Heidegger because he really
yes,
hated time. Right?
yes,
So,
yeah, no,
right?
yeah, no, for sure,
It was
for
like
sure,
time was his enemy for sure.
for sure. No, mine too. No, we agree there. Yeah, no, I think Heidegger is one of the greatest philosophers of, I don't say modern
Well, I
times,
like how
but
he juxtaposed time with nature, where
yes,
there's no inherent progress in nature. Right? So I
right,
think that he was very much
Yeah,
ahead of the curve there, and right
I
because he
was
yeah.
was
going to say,
going against Hegel. Right?
as
I
soon
think
as
he
one of
was
y'all, as soon as one of y'all know how to get rid of direct energy weapons that can zap forests on fire from miles up in the air, let me know how that goes.
Yeah, you got to get rid of that international spy station.
for
We all need
sure,
to band together. Yeah.
for sure. That's how they did that magic trick with the those that tower card. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, um, yeah, that card game. But yeah, Heidegger, I really respect. I think he was light years ahead of most people. Um, I used to like Kierkegaard too when I had a more Christian lens of seeing things. He still has some interesting things to say, but I don't agree with him as much as I used to. But he still does have some interesting takes for sure.
Well, we got
Uh,
the smartest guy in the chat here, Joe. Joe the genius. Right.
but yeah, man, if you understand Heidegger, then it gives you a better idea. Like I said, I'm much more aligned with him than Plato or even Nietzsche, really. Um, yeah, and Schelling as well uh, is really, I would say, was way ahead of most and not known enough. Neither of them are well. They're not really taught, to be honest, um, that much. Like if you take philosophy, they're usually skipped over.
Did you just pick up your philosophy yourself, and or did you study it?
I am self taught in everything. Yes, I've always been skeptical of everything, and so pretty much my entire philosophy, my science, my everything is self uh taught. Yeah, yeah. I distrusted and was skeptical of everything I was taught, and for good reason. And
So you were Christian and you
yep,
rejected your.
yeah. I was raised evangelical Christian. I studied the Bible cover to cover. I studied different forms of Christianity. I became a Gnostic Christian for a good while. I still find a lot of truth in that. I still find a lot of inspiration in Jesus. I actually think he may have existed. And I think that the story that was created about him is mythical. And it was used to hide what very well could have been a real person. But that's a whole nother story. So basically, the
Why
story,
do you reject the Abrahamic? I mean, what
because they
made you?
destroyed they destroyed the pagan people, the pagan faith, and they said that everything was evil except them. And I think that's the biggest inversion in history.
Do you worship any pagan deities?
No, no, I don't worship
So,
anything.
but you like Jesus.
Yes, yes, I do. I think that the original teachings of Jesus are very liberating when they're understood outside of religious sunglasses, as I put it.
Do
I think
you?
that. Go ahead.
I was going to ask if you believe in the afterlife.
Um. Well, I don't believe there's death, so I don't really believe, you know, necessarily in an afterlife like that. Um. But I mean, there's something that there's a continuation of this, so I guess in that sense, yeah. Uh,
What I mean, do you have an idea about what happens to us after we are dead?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't believe in death. I believe death is a transition So I just think that we continue on, wherever it is we continue on to, whether it's reincarnation or uh, whatever is the next step. And since I believe that this is some kind of training ground, who knows what that is. I've seen a lot of evidence for reincarnation, so I do believe there's too many children, quite literally children, that have recollections of uh, grave details of their past lives. And I do mean like very strong, detailed remembrances. Like I was a pilot at this division of this, Air Force, da 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 da, and I flew here in this year, and da da da. And there's like no way in hell they would remember this, but they do. And it was like this was my name, and then they go and they find like the tombstone. It's like, what on earth? So I tend to believe reincarnation. I don't pretend to know what happens after this because no one knows. Um, if you want to call it after, but I don't believe that we actually die. At least not in the way that people actually think. And what I mean by that is consciousness is immortal.
So,
Our body dies, our personality dies, but we are not this body and we are not this personality. We are consciousness, which is eternal.
do you believe that good will be rewarded and evil punished?
Unfortunately, not. I wish. I believe that we have cause and effect, and so what you give is what you get. So in that sense, I guess you could say that, but it's not really punishment and reward. It's more what goes around comes around. And so if you put out all kinds of negative energy and you abuse people and lie to them and cheat them, and well, it's going to come back around. It's not that you're being punished, it's just that that's what you put out. And so yeah, I believe that. But I also believe that if you're a sociopath and you don't feel any guilt or shame or whatever for your actions, then you can pretty much dodge it. And that's why the world is the way it is, and people that do horrible things get away with it because they're able to dodge that karma, quote unquote.
Do you think there's a link between morality and politics and religion?
Yeah, I think politicians have no morality. Unfortunately. um but I think morality is very important, and I believe that the universe itself is moral. um Now, is there an objective morality? uh I would like to think so, but I don't really think there is any objective evidence for that.
So
Have
what
you heard of the
separates what
Noahide?
separates us from animals? In your definition, what separates us from the four-legged creatures that run around?
Not as much as we'd like to believe.
Oh, so you're saying I came from monkey man, beat myself in the head with a rock when I had a toothache?
Oh, no way. No, no, no. I don't believe in evolution at all. Um, but I
So what
also
would be
believe
our grand purpose here? What would be the purpose here?
whatever purpose we decide. It's like
No,
a blank canvas.
that is straight Luciferian satanic.
It's a blank slate. It's whatever meaning we
Okay,
decide
so
to.
any man who says that my purpose here is to rape and kill women can do it because that's his purpose that he saw fit to do. So do what thou wilt, right?
Well, I mean, if that's their purpose, then
Oh,
that's
there you go. Case closed.
if that's their purpose, then I mean, that's for them to work out within themselves. I wouldn't say that's a great idea. Um, I would hope that wasn't someone's purpose.
I'm just saying everything you've stated sounds exactly what their new world order damn it, new world order agenda is, which is basically you are God, you can do what you want, and there is no morals, there is no right or wrong, and there will be no justification in the end for it. So yeah, go ahead.
Well, I have no kinship with any of that, so I mean, yeah,
Well, I can tell you what, in the next 10 to 15 years, you better swear allegiance to it or you won't be alive to witness it.
I know all about it. I know about David Spangler and his planetary initiations, and yeah, I've been I've been sounding the alarm on this shit since I was a teenager. So
I mean, they
yeah.
just started on California. If y'all don't think they're burning that shit out to demolish it and start over for the smart cities, I hate to tell you.
Like I said, I've been sounding the alarm on this since I was a teenager. So I'm well aware. The 10 regions and the
I'm
North
just saying
American
that
Union and the Asian Union
your
and the
path of thinking is a very dangerous one.
no, it's not.
Yes, it is. Because you see, you want to know what keeps me in check? It's not the fear of mortal men's laws of going to jail and prison or execution. It's the fact that the God Almighty would judge me for what I've done in my life. That's what keeps me from going out and going full Joker on society. So I'd hate to have your mentality.
Why do you need the fear of an almighty God to keep you in check? That's my question. Why can't you just be good without that?
I
What
mean, I
makes you think?
can.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. So what makes you think that just because I don't fear an almighty God that I can't be moral? Just because I don't believe that there's an objective morality, it doesn't mean that I can't be moral and don't have ethics and principles. That's an assumption.
Spoken like a true Satanist.
Okay. Well, take it as you will.
Well, the thing is, you can say that you won't kill, won't steal, won't rape, but if you don't believe God exists to punish you
Do people
for
who
any
believe
evil
God do those
deeds you
things?
do, then
Do
you'll
people who
probably
believe
do
God
it
do
if you
those
think you
things?
can get away with it,
Do people
because
who
that's
believe in
what
God do those
criminals
things?
do.
I
Do
can
people
guarantee
who
you, these preachers who go molest and rape little boys in church choirs and Catholic places and all these other places and stuff like that, no, they don't actually believe in God, because if they actually
there's a lot of
feared
them.
eternal torment, they would not
There's a
do
lot of
it.
them. There's a
Then
lot
they
of them.
actually believe in God. So no, they
Okay,
don't believe
well,
in God.
so
They
what I'm
use God
saying is
like
what's the
Joel
difference?
Osteen and Kenneth Copeland to
I
do their dirty
agree.
words.
I agree. I agree. I totally agree. So what I'm saying is you never really know now, do you?
So that's why we need the laws of God. We need rules.
We need self-control is what we need.
Yeah, but
That's all
you
we
know, we
need.
need to control ourselves over what we would like to do, but no, we can't do or are
But that's
not
all we
supposed to
need.
do.
We don't need anything outside of us to tell us. We just need to control ourselves. Because it really doesn't
Yeah, it's
matter
easier
what.
said than done, though. I mean, we need the
Well,
law.
okay. Well, that's part of being human, and it's part of, like I said, not blaming anything outside of yourself. Like being able to have self control is nothing more than that. You know, I meditate
But
daily.
you don't think laws are necessary?
Well, yeah, within society, of course they are.
Okay,
No,
so
I do believe
do, do,
in
do you
that.
think it's
Yes,
helpful if we agree on what those laws
sure.
should be?
No. I'm talking about from a personal level. I am not speaking from a societal level. Let me make that clear. I'm speaking from a personal level. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have objective morality within a societal level. No. Don't get that twisted. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have laws and all that. No. I do believe in anarchy to an extent. Okay, but people misunderstand what that means. It's not no laws. It's not no rules. It's no rulers. So in other words, what I'm saying is just because you have a law against no murdering doesn't mean people aren't going to murder. Criminals
Okay,
tend to
but
not follow. Let me explain.
how are things
So
going to work if there's no government?
let me explain. How do things work now with government? Let me explain. Just because you have laws doesn't mean that people are going to follow laws. Criminals tend to not follow rules. It doesn't matter if they're there or not. Okay, that's the problem. Just like they want to disarm everybody and take all their guns and stuff. Okay, well, guess what? Criminals don't care. They're going to commit crime anyways. So you have what's called substantiable reality and actual reality. Okay, so just because you have a law saying don't do this, it doesn't mean that everyone's going to actually follow it. Now, I'm like I said, I'm not
Rules are
saying
made
that
to be broken.
right. So I'm not complete anarchist. I'm a few steps away from it. I believe in total as much freedom as possible. Okay, so
Do you have
not
a minimum number of laws that you think should be
Well,
in place?
yeah, no, I think there should be some level of social cohesion. I think that it should be agreed upon,
Do you
and I
have a
think,
list of them in your mind?
well, I just think that it should be agreed upon. I think that people should. I think we should have something akin to a libertarian or a republic or something like that. Like
Do you
originally,
have a
when
list in your mind about, any
well,
decent
I
person would
mean,
agree?
go look at the Constitution. Like people don't know the Constitution. If you go actually look at the Constitution, you know, a lot of what's going on now was going on then, and most people have no idea in the world. The government was supposed to have a whole five powers. That's it. All this legislation and all that is mind games. It's I'm not gonna get into maritime law and all this, okay? But these are all added powers that never existed originally. It's mind games. It's sorcery, is what it is, really. When you really
Are
like,
you
when you
saying
really,
legislation is sorcery?
I'm saying legislation is sorcery. Yes, I'm
Well, that's
saying that
ridiculous
no, it's absolutely
because
true.
there's laws against sorcery, and it
Well, guess
used to
what?
attract the death
Well,
penalty.
guess what? It's sorcery. I'm telling you right now, because there are only a handful of laws that are actually legitimate, and all the rest of it are what are known as codes. Codes, and they're telling you what it is by calling it a code.
So what laws are illegitimate?
They add new ones every day.
Okay, so you're saying there should be a minimum number of
Yes,
laws.
I'm
So
saying if you read the
what
Constitution,
are
go
they
look at the
according
Constitution.
to you?
I
People
can't,
are
I can't, I can't
people are
pull it up
asking
right
for
now.
the. Give me 1 second, Twilight. People are asking for the link over at Claire's channel, so maybe she
I
can
can't,
facilitate that. But yeah,
I
I'll
blessings.
do
can't,
that.
I can't open up my files right now, or I would pull it out. But if anyone has access to the
Secret
Constitution,
files.
no, I have a whole library of texts because I read a lot and I do a lot of research and all that. But for some reason, when I try to, well, let me try again. I don't know. When I try to open stuff when I'm on Streamyard, for some reason, it usually won't. Either it won't let me do it, it'll cut me off, like it'll knock me off of Streamyard, or when I try, people won't hear me. But if you look at the Constitution, like what I'm talking about, it talks about this. First off, it talks about banking and how it should be never be centralized. It talks about how uh, freedom and patriotism and all that, like they have to be recycled by the blood of by the with the blood of tyrants. How freedom isn't free, okay? And it like people have no idea. The government was only supposed to have a few powers. That's it. All these other things are added on. And the reason why I say it's sorcery is because when you understand it's all mind games, it's word magic. That's why I say it's sorcery. Because when you get into what maritime admiralty law is, okay, it's legitimately word magic. It sounds like
What do
one
you
thing and
feel
it
about the
means another.
Noahide laws? Did I ask you this
That is a
question?
serious problem.
Why?
Why? Because it's basically stoning to anyone who doesn't agree. And they'll tell you
Um,
that. They'll tell you that in their own words. They'll tell you that in their own words. Idol worship, and that includes Christianity, by the way, uh, is
well,
death.
idolatry is a mortal sin. Even Christians say idolatry is a mortal sin.
Yeah, but according to them, Christianity is also idol worship because they
Well,
say that
because
man.
Christians do worship a man.
Right, exactly. So that means that Christians could be killed under the Noahide
But
laws.
but fortunately for Americans, you have the First Amendment, which is supported by Chapter 2, verse 256 of the Quran. I don't know if you know that.
Magic Heaven, can you please wave to the camera? Blessings. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Lewis Wayne, I'm assuming you have a functional camera. If you can cam up and wave, we cannot allow people to come on the show because of porn bombers. Thank you so much. Blessings. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
Excellent. You tell.
How goes it?
Greetings.
Yeah. We're doing good here. Mr. Twilight, son of Lilith. You seem like an interesting fellow. What's your religious beliefs?
I don't have any. That's why I'm interesting.
Well, your lack of a belief is a belief